Knotting shuttle. You'll need a few items for knotting. First is a knotting shuttle. It should be about 4 to 6 inches long, and there are a few places that sell them online. Just do a search to find them. Also, some of them run a little small. They are still good to try, but if you need to use a lot of thicker threads and want to keep it all in the same strand, you might be limited with how much you can load onto the shuttle if it's a smaller size. Thread. I've found one of the best types of threads to use is crochet thread. Try to find the thicker size, although you might still have luck with the thinner sizes. Threads like embroidery floss or even yarns have separate strands that pull apart too easily, and the result is not smooth enough or makes spacing and control over the knots more difficult. Keep an eye out for anything that looks like it would knot easily and stay that way, though. It never hurts to try it and see if you like the results. Scissors. Small embroidery scissors work great, especially if they have a pointy, sharp tip. It makes snipping threads close to the spool in narrower shuttles a little easier. Storage. And finally, you'll want something to hold your knotted threads. Cards or spools that can hold thicker amounts of thread work great. You might also consider a small bag to hold the threads to keep them together and organized. If the bag has drawstrings, you can wear it on your left wrist to catch the knotted length and keep it from dragging on the floor.
This is for the double-sided knot. Basically, again, you need to watch how to make the single knot to start this, but it's just a bunch of single knots actually. And you start off as usual. The tail end goes in the palm of your hand. You wrap clockwise. You come from behind with the knotting shuttle, and then you pull and you tighten, and that's the first step. We're going to make another one, wrapping clockwise, coming from behind through the loop. Now, I'm going to leave a bit of a distance, say a couple millimeters, and you see how there's a little gap between them? Now, I want to do one more overhand knot, but I want to capture them both. And this is where it's nice to learn how to use your fingers to center and move things. I'm capturing those two knots that I just made in my third knot, and I tie it up, and it makes the double-sided knot. Doing it again. Wrap it clockwise through the back and putting it as close as you'd like, watching that it doesn't catch your previous knot because you don't want to keep adding to it. And you place that first knot where you want it. I like to leave a slight gap or get it as close as I can. Then you're going to do a second knot a little bit of a distance away from that first one. Bump it off, it keeps wanting to snag that. And now I want to capture those two knots together with my third knot. Because even though it's called a double-sided knot, you have to capture them. And there you go. The trick is just to basically control where the knots are going and how you can capture, and that's just where all the fingers come in. Where the gracefulness of the knotting is how you do it. Once you get really good, you can move faster, you can take up more space, but I'm trying to keep my hands within the frame of the camera. I'll do one more. Wrap it clockwise, bring the knotting shuttle from the back through the loop, placing the first one where you want that knot to start. Do your second knot a little bit of a distance away, and then using the third knot to tie those two together. And the cool thing about these knots, you can usually get just enough give on it to move the knot forward or backward. So if you have one that, see, in fact there's one that just popped off, it didn't capture it tight enough. And I've just found that it's just not even worth going back and redoing. I just make a whole strand, and sometimes if I have a section that I don't like, I can actually cut those out, skip it, and move on to the next good section. So don't worry about it. You're going to be making so many knots, and unless you're covering a gown completely with these, I don't see how you would need every one of these.